point, he began to suspect the genie. This genie is tricky. Whatever I ask for, he gives my neighbor twice as much. He had a brilliant idea how to really make his life fulfilled. He said to the genie, "I'd like to lose my vision in one eye." Poof! He lost his vision in one eye. And with the other eye, he craftily looked across the street. His neighbor was blind in both eyes. Ah! He was so happy. True happiness. Social psychologists say that there are two factors that prevent human beings from getting off the hedonistic treadmill. Many of you have worked out on a treadmill before. No matter how no matter how much you run, you don't go anywhere. The treadmill, it'll tell you how many kilometers that you've run, but you just haven't gotten anywhere. So, materialism, sensuality is like that. It's a treadmill. You run and you run and you run. You exert yourself, you exert yourself, you exert yourself. But in terms of satisfying the core being, the real you never get anywhere. As you saw in the drama, Marie, the spiritual girl, was uninterested in material hookups and liaisons because you don't get anywhere. The whole thing is so superfluous. The whole affair is so external. It's all about prestige and the illusion of satisfying flickering desires. And also temporary relief of boredom. You just interact with someone just to pass the time. And what's love got to do with it? Just pass the time. Get through the weekend. Get through the night. So this hedonistic treadmill, often called the hedonic treadmill, is very difficult to get off. Because what else will you do if you don't struggle for material happiness? Whether in a gross way or a subtle way. What else are you going to do? And there are two factors why you can't get off. One is habitual consumption. You, regardless of what level of income you have a particular habitual level of consumerism. Now naturally you'll feel good about yourself that you're in no way as an intense consumerist as someone else that you know. You generally feel that you basically buy what you need, a little bit more, but the other people, they are the consumers, right? You live simply. Everyone needs a bit of entertainment, but it's the others who are the consumers who are wrecking the world. How could you ever consider yourself to be a consumer? No way. So the point is that everyone has a particular level of habitual consumption. And because of that habit, you can't get off the treadmill. You have to have that level of consumption that you are habituated to having. You have to have it. Just analyze your life, look around in your flat, in your home, and you'll see that there are just certain things you always have to have. And if you don't have them, you get a bit rattled. So that's just one thing, though, out of two. Habitual patterns of consumption. That keeps you from getting off the treadmill. The other is social comparison. You're always looking around to see what the others have. And the others they can't have too much more than you, otherwise you can't be peaceful. So you may have the top of the line BMW, but if your neighbor has a gold-plated Rolls Royce, you can't be peaceful. It's a psychological fact. It's not so much what you have in of itself, but you have to see what everyone else has also, and then judge yourself. See yourself in the total fabric. So these two factors prevent you from getting off the hedonistic treadmill. Your own habitual patterns of consumption, which are very difficult to change. Maybe it's just getting that one bottle of wine every Friday. Still, everyone's got something they cling to. Difficult to give up, very difficult. And the other, social comparison. You have to feel that you're keeping pace with others around you, at least. Better to surpass them. That's the real thrill in life, to have more than everyone else. So based on this hedonistic treadmill, or shall we say running on this hedonistic treadmill, we'll never know what real beauty is. Real beauty has nothing to do with material endeavors. That's why the smart yogis don't pursue material happiness and distress. They just let whatever is meant to come to them based on their past life, just let it come. It falls like the rain. Meanwhile, go about your affairs for getting an improved situation in your next life, because this life is already a done deal in terms of the karmic deliveries of happiness and distress. How do you know that that is the fact? As we always point out, how many of you here have longed for distress? How many of you here have gone out of your way to get distress? I've got to find it today, distress. I'm going to work hard to try and get distress. I'm going to enter into the most distressful relationship I can. No. Even though you don't do that, guess what happens? Still distress comes. In the same way, the yogis point out that even though you don't endeavor for happiness, the right amount of material happiness will come to you. Doesn't that make sense? It's all based on reactions to your actions in the past life. So the bhakti yogi, who's at the topmost rung of the yoga ladder, the Krishna conscious person, doesn't pursue the false beauty of material existence, which is simply a conglomeration of actions and reactions, material actions and reactions. The bhakti yogi, the Krishna conscious person, pursues the beauty of the spiritual energy. And that takes training, because we're so accustomed to just dealing with matter. We need a training program. We need a culture that will introduce us to the eternal beauty of the spiritual realm. So today, we're celebrating a very special day in the yoga world, especially the bhakti yoga world. This is the appearance day celebration of a very special avatar. Actually, technically speaking, this personality for whom we're celebrating the appearance day today is not an avatar. This personality is the original Supreme Absolute Truth, from whom all avatars expand. The example given in the Bhakti text is that you have one candle that's lit with that one lit candle, you can light so many other candles. And all those candles are equal in power to the first original candle. They all give off the same candlelight power. Nevertheless, there's that original candle which is special because it's the source of the illumination in all the other candles. In that way, we can understand how Krishna, the Supreme Absolute Truth, expands himself into so many avatars. Avatar means, not on the internet where you create some false persona and manipulate it. Avatar is a Sanskrit word that means that which comes down, just like the elevator comes from the top floor down to the ground level. So the avatar, genuine avatar, is an expansion of the Supreme Absolute Truth that appears within the material world for the purpose of uplifting society, for the purpose of displaying genuine beauty, for displaying the sense objects of the spiritual world. Spiritual form, spiritual sight, spiritual smell, spiritual touch. That's what the avatar is meant to do, to open the door for your genuine spiritual experience. Otherwise, you see people just go around talking about spiritual this, spiritual that, and because they have no access to the world of spiritual sense objects, everything remains so nebulous, like some kind of metaphysical theories or philosophy. But your senses need more than just theories. Your senses are hungry for these sense objects of the spiritual world. If you don't get those spiritual sense objects, you'll get the material sense objects of the material world. So this particular Supreme Personality that we are celebrating today, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, is a very special appearance of Krishna himself. He's Krishna coming in the role of his own Bhakti Yoga practitioner, just to show you that it is possible, just to show you how to do it. Because often people will say, in this present materialistic age, how is it possible to be fully spiritual? It's not possible. So Krishna comes as his own bhakti practitioner, as his own devotee, just to show you it is possible even in this very confused and problematic time. On the one hand, today, we see so many obstacles for our spiritual development. I hear it all the time in talking to people at the loft. I've got to work so hard, or I have to study so much, or I've got so many relationship problems, and combinations of all those things. I have no time, or even though I have time, I'm just not motivated. I've got some things I want to achieve in this world. I have to do that first before I can figure out who I am. So, it's a difficult time for making spiritual advancement, on the one hand. But on the other hand, in this most difficult time, there's a special facility that you can achieve the eternal beauty, the spiritual perfection, by practiced vibration, meditation upon the Hare Krishna mantra. Sound vibration. You are cultivating your connection to that sound vibration that will free you from the illusions of artificial beauty, temporary beauty. So this special appearance of Krishna, known as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, demonstrated how to easily achieve Krishna in this